Hi, this is Joe. I'm going to show you how to export a spreadsheet, a Numbers spreadsheet, from an iPad. You may have done it from a Mac before, but it's slightly different. The controls are a little bit different. The basics are the same. The spreadsheet from the Mac will work on the iPad and vice versa, but you may have to hit some different buttons to do some similar things. So what I'd like to start out with, I have the numbers icon here. If I long press on that, I can get this screen up. Oh, by the way, you can see my mouse cursor here. I decided to use a mouse so that we can have the click view on the screen so you can see what I'm clicking on. I wanted to do a quick tutorial to show you if you did want to use a mouse. You can use a mouse very easily. The best way is to pick up a Bluetooth mouse. It's a wireless mouse. So the iPad should be already set up. You just have to go to the Bluetooth settings. And if you put your mouse in pairing mode, there should be a button on the mouse somewhere. I click the button and you see this come up, Bluetooth pairing request. I hit that and the MBT item popped up, and because I had it connected before, it automatically connected. But if you're doing it for the first time, it'll just ask you to pair, and then if you want to connect it. Pretty much any Bluetooth mouse would work with this. And you see you have a cursor instead of using your finger. So let's click here, New Spreadsheet, because we can set up a dummy spreadsheet and then I can show you how to export it. And along the way, I'll show you a few other tips for the spreadsheet. Now we'll go here and just create a blank. And you can see with the blank, it sets up a default spreadsheet. It has a header across the top and down the side. And these are different colors. And you'll see later you can move the spreadsheet underneath and still see if the labels or whatever you put here. So let's just create a spreadsheet. What I like to do is make this a little bit bigger. So we'll go up here to this little, I think it's an arrow. We'll bring this out. It's probably a little too far, but we can change that later. We can delete the extra columns. What I'd like to show you first is if we go up here to the header and select the B1 is the row and column designation. We'll go there, and normally there's always a keyboard and a cell button down here. We'll hit the keyboard and we're going to start with, I'm going to put the months across the top. So January, and I'm just going to click in the next cell. Now you see what happened. Numbers was smart enough to know we wanted January in there, and it put the whole month in. Now I'm going to put the next month in the next cell, just the abbreviation, and we'll click the C cell over here, and you see we have January and February. So what I'd like to do now is continue along the whole top, put all the months in of the year. So there's a feature built into, let's close this keyboard. There's a feature built in to the cells function down here. If we select these two, we can click here and you can see it says Autofill cells. So once you have you have to have at least two cells selected of similar types. And then you can click Autofill cells. And what happens is you get a gold line around the two cells you selected. And you notice right on the right-hand side, if you look here, if you move your cursor over or put your finger there, if you're using finger, you can click and hold here and drag this out. So we got March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October. We want to go back just to December. September, October, November, December. That should be good. And you can see I backed up because I thought we had December, but we were only up to September. So I just kept moving the line over and it went out to December. Now you can see we have an extra cell here. We can click here and just say hide the column, and takes us out to December. Now that we have our months put in at the top, on the top header, I like to put some data down the side here. Remember, this is just a dummy spreadsheet we're making up, but I just wanted to show you a couple things about the autofill function here. Now, we can put a number in here. Let's put in a year, 1990. And we'll go to the next cell and put in 1991. And go to the third cell down, which is actually cell 4. You can see by the numbering on the side here. So this will be cell A4 we're in. Now, if we select the 2 and bring it down this way, you can see we can go to the cell again and do autofill, and it'll put the gold outline around the 2 that we have selected, and we can just drag this down and it fills in all the numbers. Now, it went in by ones, 91, 92, 93. Now, if the first 2 we put in were in there by 5, say 90, 95, 2000, it would continue that sequence. Now, what I'd like to do is show you up here where the undo button is. Now, if we hit the undo button, it will do the last edit that we did. And if you keep hitting it, it will keep undoing until you get to where you want to stop. So what I want to do is go back to here. I wanted to show you one other thing. Another way we could fill in the column is by putting the numbers in. I think we'll try by 5s this time. 1995. Now we have the 2 numbers set up. And if we select the two columns, the two rows actually in the column, we could either go here and go into Autofill, or let's go back and select them again. Rather than go into the cell button there, we can, when it sees you have two selected of similar series, you can just go here and pull down, and it'll automatically put the yellow or gold outline around it. And as you pull down, it'll fill in the sequence. And you notice it's in by fives, 90, 95, goes all the way up to 2090. Ooh, that's pretty high. So let's leave it like that and continue on to the next step. So we have our header filled in, we have our categories here filled in, our years. Now let's put some data in so we have something to work with here. There's some functions within Numbers that can put random data in. So I'd like to show you the two that are very useful. And if you're not familiar with formulas, one way you can get to put a formula in a cell is go to the cell button and just click on New Formula. And this will open up and you can put a formula in right here and you can start a formula. Well, either that or you can go into the cell itself and just put in an equal sign in and it'll bring up the formula. Equal will start a formula. Now the formula that we want to use is a random number, first of all. So we'll go here and just put an R in. And you can see all the functions that start with R come up. And there's two right here in the beginning. There's rand and RandBetween. I'll show you the rand first. We click rand, and that's all you have to do for that cell. And you see there's a checkbox over here that you can just click on that, and it'll perform the function. You can see it puts a number in there. That's a decimal, really low decimal. So what I'd rather have is a whole number, so we're going to multiply that by 100 in the formula. See, you can do it all right down here. And here's a lot of the operators you can use. You can add, subtract, multiply, divide, put things in quotes, etc. All this you can do. So now I'm multiplying it by 100. And what that will do is move the decimal place over. So now we have a number in there that at least has a whole number. I like to multiply it by 1,000 to make it a much bigger whole number. So we'll do the check mark again. Now we have a 700 and something, but look at all the decimal numbers after the decimal point. We don't want that. So we can go up to the little key here. We have to close and say that's currency. Currency will make it, we'll put a $sign in and it will just give us 2 decimals. You could change that over here in the I if you hit the I. But now we have a number in there, just a random number that the program picked. So we can close this. Now what we want to do is propagate that formula all the way down, just to give us random numbers. If you click on the cell itself where the formula is, the formula and the keyboard will come up, and here's the formulas if you ever wanted to see what the formula was. So we'll close that. But what I'd like to do now is to copy this. So I can right click and do a copy, and to select the whole range, you can double click up here on the column number or letter, actually. Double click. If you single click, it'll include the header, but if you double click, it'll just include everything but the header and footer. So now we can do a right click and say paste. And if we go to paste, we want to paste the formulas all the way down, because what that will do is will give us random numbers all the way down and put the same formula in. You see, if we click here and bring that up, it's the same exact formula that was in the other column. Now what we want to do is fill in the rest of the spreadsheet. So we'll click here, and suppose we just didn't want random numbers of any type. Suppose we want a certain range of random numbers, like from 100 to 500. Well, that's where the RandBetween comes in. We click on New Formula there and put our R in. And we'll click on RandBetween. And see, it gives you some prompts here. It wants a lower number and an upper number. So if we click here, we'll say 100. And for the upper number, we'll say 500. And by the way, I think if you make some sort of an error, it will show up here. But we have a green check mark, which means we can click that and the formula will go into the cell. So there's our number 142. Now, again, what we want to do is show money. So let's double click this first. Select the whole range. Go up to Format. And actually, Format. And click Currency. And it'll put the $sign in and the decimals. We can close that. Now what we want to do is also we want to copy this formula. You can do it with your finger. You can just tap on there. And this menu will come up. You can just say copy. And you can drag this down with your finger if you'd like that. And just do a paste. Paste formulas. And what it'll do is put that same formula in every row. Then what we can do, we'll drag this over all the way to December and down to 2090. Our hidden cell showed up. I'll show you how to delete that. We can go back here. And again, if we do a paste, we can do it right from here, paste formulas. And we pasted all the formulas of the RandBetween. So you notice every number in here is between 100 and 500. So that fills in. That fills in our spreadsheet with some dummy numbers. And now I can show you how to export. Let's give our spreadsheet some names before we continue. Blank 3 is not very descriptive. So we can left click on the name and then a menu comes up, says rename. So we'll call this dummy. And for the table name, we can rename that. We can call it export. And when we click off of there, that'll stay there. Now you can also go up here and with your finger and hit that, and that same menu will come up. You can rename it. And actually, if you say rename, the keyboard will come up. So you can do all this with your finger, or if you really like using the mouse works great with the iPad. It's a wireless mouse. If you remember, we left an extra column hanging here. What I'd like to do is just select a cell in the column, and you see the, what I guess you could call them column headers come up. If you right click on that, or I guess you could long click, well, we'll try a right click, and we'll go down this menu at the very bottom. There's a delete column. You can click that. Let's try just right, oh, if we just tap on that, delete column comes up. So that'd be easy too with your finger. So let's try it with the mouse. We'll go in here, just tap once. I had to do a right click and then scroll down to delete column. Either way, we deleted the column, and we can go back over to the beginning here. And now we can export some of this data. Actually, the whole spreadsheet we're going to export. So let's go to this very noticeable symbol here on most Apple products. It's a little square with a upward pointing arrow. And generally what it will do is give you options to share, send, copy, print, whatever you're working in. So let's click that and see we have options here. And if you look down, there's a lot of different options. You can save this particular dummy numbers. You can save this particular dummy numbers or send a copy to someone, but we want to export and send it. Now, you could export it any number of ways, as a PDF file, as an Excel file. I tried this to an Excel file the other day, and it was Excel picked up on all the formulas and pretty much everything, all the formatting. So if you want to create a spreadsheet in Numbers and use it in Excel, it's a great way to go. You could export just the data as a common separated value file or as a tab separated value file or as a numbers template. So we're going to export it as a PDF. So we'll click that, and let's print settings, fit each sheet to a single page, right? Export current sheet only. That'll just give us our dummy sheet. And we'll say export. Now it'll ask us where to save it or send it. Let's see, save to files. I had a folder set up called Export Numbers. So we're going to put it in there. So all we have to do is click Save. So we'll save that. And now this spreadsheet is saved in that folder. I set up a folder for the test called Export Numbers. And here's our spreadsheet that we created in the video called Dummy, and you notice it has a PDF extension on it. So if we open that, you can see it opens as a PDF. But here's what it did. You'll have to play with some of the numbers. Maybe if we did it in landscape mode, it might have come out all on one page. But it split up the whole spreadsheet into two pages. So if we click down here, we go to page 2, we see out to December. But in any case, it put it in a PDF, it converted it, all the data. And again, you have the little icon here to send it. You can do an airdrop, mail, messages, any number of options. You can print it from here. Again, you can save it to files to a different folder. Save to Dropbox. There's a lot of different options. So this is how you can save it as a PDF and have the data all in your PDF file. What's nice about this in the PDF format is that you can send it to someone and they can't really play with the numbers or change the formulas because there's no way for them to do it and affect any of the data unless they just want to change the number somehow. I just wanted to show you one other way to export it to a CSV file. If you're only looking for the data, we can go back here and export and send. And we'll say, let's send it to a CSV file. And we're going to save to files. And our same folder came up. It remembered the last folder we sent it to. And we'll say save. Now we can go look at that folder and Let's see which, this is the new one right here. And we open it. And it's funny, but what it did, it took all the data, and you can see it put commas after each cell, the data in each cell. You wouldn't want to send this to somebody to read, but a lot of programs will import this. It will ask for a CSV file to import data, and you could import this into another program, which will be able to read all the data. So that's the way to do it to a CSV. I wanted to show you what the spreadsheet that we created looks like on a Mac. This is on my Mac Mini, and if you look at the numbers, you'll see they're exactly the same as what we had. The dates, the months, the years, everything is exact. The only thing that's different is the way you access everything in the spreadsheet. You can see up here on the Mac there's different menus. You get a lot easier ways to get to things. You could probably do most of this stuff on the iPad, but it's a little harder to figure it out. On the Mac, you just go through the menus, you can read and see what you have to do. And you can go item by item, menu item by item, go right through and see what you can do. Different views, and there's a help. You can get the help on the iPad too. The help on there is very good, but you can get to it real quick here just in the help. And you also have some icons here where you can get to things a lot quicker. Suppose you wanted to change a formula. We'll select this cell right here and see if you double click this cell, the current formula comes up. But what we can do is, once that cell's selected, we can go over here to the insert, and you can have some of the more common functions that are used, or you can just go in here and say edit formula. Of course, you can just double click on there to do it. So say you wanted this one to be to 500 to 600. Well, you can see it didn't go up to 600, but if you keep clicking on that, changing the formula, it will eventually give you a range between 1 and 600. You also have a way to add a table. Click this. You can add a table, and it's very easy to connect the added table to your original table, and you can bring in data from this first table into the second table. You can create charts, which again you can do on the iPad, but it's a lot harder to find out how to do it. You have to really root around for the menus or whatever. You can even put a text box in, and if you want to put a text box in here, you can do that. undo, okay. Put shapes. Put a shape right in here over top of something. If you want to cover a whole row or whatever, make it more secure. You can do all sorts of things with the shapes. Next is media. You can add photos or videos. You could go to the image gallery and select things. Record audio. And, ooh, you can put a post-it note right there and keep it right on your spreadsheet. If you'd like to select some cells to reformat, say you don't want currency in this cell, you select the cells and go to Format, then you have a lot of options. You have these same options pretty much on the iPad with the little key that you press, so that's very similar. But you can put different background colors in and fills and all kind of things. Change the way your text looks. And there's a bunch of things you can do. One other thing I wanted to show you, which was the whole point of this video, was exporting a spreadsheet to a PDF. So if you look up here, you have the same little share icon, the square with the up pointing arrow in it. If you click that, the selections will be slightly different, but you can see export and send. If you click that, you have different choices of formats you can export it in. There's a PDF, there's a CSV, and you have options here. Here's an option to fit each sheet on a single page, which I believe we had on the iPad also. So we could have avoided the the 2 pages in the PDF file, but the text would probably be a lot smaller. You would have had part of the sheet maybe on the top of the page and part on the bottom. And you have image quality. You could even put a password on it in order to open the file. So this is how you can get to the export area on the Mac, and also will be the same on the MacBook Air, Pro, Mini, iMac, etc. Like I mentioned, all this is a lot easier on a Mac or a MacBook, if that's what you have, but it's so convenient on the iPad to sit in a chair and even use your finger, not even use a mouse. Use your touch screen to create a really nice spreadsheet, save it. You can export it as I showed you earlier and do a whole bunch of things. So this pretty much ends my video. I hope you got something out of it. I hope you'll keep watching my other videos that come out and the previous ones. I put a link to another video that I've done that shows how to create a basic spreadsheet. So that'll be in the description. And also in the description is a link to my video playlist. It shows all my videos, including some of the new ones I've done on my model trains. So I've been doing a lot of different things, from computers to trains, and who knows what I'll be doing next. So we'll see you next time. Please like and subscribe, and please comment. I'd like to see some comments if you like what I've done, or if you'd like to see something different. So please comment when you get a chance. So I will see you next time. Have a great day, week, weekend, great rest of the year, and I'll see you again. Bye.